Have you faced difficulty in your journey of reading annual reports and investing? I'm sure all of you might be thinking that annual report reading is too cumbersome, it is only for full-time investors, and can I also do it? So in this particular video, I'm going to dissect this myth and I'll demystify how you can read the annual report easily, efficiently, and still get the maximum out of it. So if you're ready for this session, just type ready in the comment box and let's get started. Super evening, and let's first understand the three important concepts why we should be reading annual report, because a lot of investors ignore annual report just because it is too lengthy and a lot of stuff to read over there. But it is very important process. So the first thing why you should be studying annual report is to understand the business model and the sector of a company, because only when you understand the business model you can invest with a high conviction and for a long period of time. The second thing is connecting dots, right? A lot of people just read it like a book and think that, oh, maine annual report pad liya, I've read 3, 4, 5 annual reports and now I'm pandit about the company. But the real question is you need to ask why and connect the dots, and that is what I'll show you live in this particular video so that you understand the entire nitty-gritty of efficiently reading annual reports and getting maximum juice out of it. Okay, so the connecting dots, just remember this point, very important in your journey when you are reading your annual report. And third, very important factor is finding the future growth triggers, because a lot of people just see the history and think, how I can do annual report and all those things, but they don't think about what is the future about the company and how they can get the insights of the future growth trigger. Because only when you get the insights of future growth trigger, that is where you can make a lot of money by riding that growth triggers of the company. Okay, so I'll tell you 10 different points which are very useful in today's session. Then we'll do a live demo also so that it is super clear, and we'll do it alongside. So the first thing is starting point. Many investors don't even think what is the starting point. So they randomly pick up any annual report and then they start reading it. And they say, Warren Buffett ne bola hai, I need to read 10 years annual report. So they will pick any random company and then start reading about it. But that is not the idea. You need to have a good starting point. Right? And in terms of sources, if you don't know the sources, there are a couple of sources which I'll show you where you can get hold of the annual report. Okay, so these are a couple of sources which I'll show you. So first is, your screener.in. So you can watch from screener.in, you can go there, and in the below part of the bottom part of the screener, you will find financial year 2021-20, all the annual reports. The second source is your BSE website. So say for example, I'm looking for say Aarti Industries annual report. I can just search with the Aarti Industries. I go to the financial section and then I go to annual report. So this is how you can download from BSE website, even from NSE website you can do. And then also on Tijori you can download this, right? So there are multiple sources where you can get same information. The key is not getting the annual report. The key is the starting point, like how you should get started in terms of your entire journey, and step by step how you should research reading this entire report. So the first point which you need to think about is your screening process, because you should not read any random annual report, and that is the big mistake a lot of investors make. So first, your point should be to screen the companies which are highly likely to perform in the future. So it could be price volume action screen, it could be your fundamental screen, it could be just running numbers and checks and all those things, but it should be a starting point. You cannot randomly pick a company, otherwise you will waste so much of your time. Remember, and reading annual report, if you are not doing it efficiently, if you read 10-year annual report, it will take heck lot of time. Okay, so that is where I've also done this video where you can be efficient by using multiple tools. Later on, you can just go and check it out. The second thing which I do is to also, do Scuttlebutt. Okay, so you basically, you are going in a grocery shop and you found that, okay, there is a interesting company which is looking good. And then you go to the overall 10-year screening Excel, and then you find out that whether this company is good enough or not. This is called a Peter Lynch style of investing, where you see ideas from your surrounding and then you read about the company. And what I would tell all of you is, even before reading the annual report, you should watch the trend of the company and see broadly whether it is in line or not. And what I do for this particular thing is I use a screening Excel. Okay, so whichever company is there, I'll just show you how I go about it. So whichever company is there, I download a screening template for that. And this screening template is developed by me. So any company you go here, Aarti Industry, I've uploaded this template and you just click on export to Excel. That Excel gets downloaded. And then what I do is I just see the framework, like whether overall income statement, the growth numbers, the margin numbers looks fine, whether the balance sheet overall looks fine, whether the cash flow statement looks fine. And then if I am slightly interested in that particular company, only then I go and visit that company. I don't do the research before that. Even price volume action is fine enough filter, but there should be some credible starting point. Don't waste your time directly jumping into your annual report and say, hey, I'm reading 10 years annual report and portray yourself as a big investor. That is not the key, right? So this Excel, if you want to download, you can do side by side along with me. I also pinned the Excel link in the comment section. So download this Excel, and there is a video also on how to use this Excel. So you can later on go through it. There is this video which is called Fundamental Analysis of Stocks using Excel Screener. Now during the annual report also, I'll tell you how to connect the dots by using this Excel, because it's not just about reading the annual report, guys. We need to connect the dots with the numbers and the trend which is going on, and I'll show you how you can connect it with the Excel, and not many people do all these things. Okay, so this will be like very super efficient way to go about it. And by the way, if you are liking this video so far, just hit a like button, and if you want any such future topics also, just think about it. Later on you can write in the comment box which kind of topics you want to cover in this video or channel. This is what I got as a feedback, that Vivek sir, I don't know how to read annual report, can you show us? So that is where I thought I'll create this video and give you an exclusive demo of how to do all these things step by step. Okay, so let's now go to actual annual report. So what I've done for all of you is I've actually downloaded an annual report of a company called Aarti Industry. So are you ready for dissecting the annual report together with me and understanding the nuances? Just type BIO, bring it on, in the comment box. Okay, so I'll show you live how you can dissect any annual report, and this is a live annual report of last year which I have downloaded, and we'll go through it. So if you go to the contents page, okay, and by the way, you can download this annual report side by side and you can do this exercise, or later on also you can figure out. It's your choice, but make sure you practice it, okay, because without practice and implementation, nothing is going to happen. So the first section, if you see, you will see as a corporate overview. So corporate overview will contain, broad-based overview of the company. It could be, say what the company does briefly, what are the milestones, how the company has been performing, what are the key customers, what is the, area or factory location where they are present, where the customers of that company is present. Okay, so that is the first thing which is covered in the annual report, which is called corporate overview. Then second thing is more like a, key highlights. So they will have, board of director details. They will have 10 years of overview, and they will have bit of basic details. So in this section, I think main key point is this 10-year consolidated financial highlights. And then you go to the performance review, which is very, very important. So this is the most important section where you will see chairman and MD statement, key performance indicators. And along with that, you will also see management discussion and analysis. We'll go through all these, sample sections one by one, and we'll go deeper into it. So that is what we are going to dissect here. Okay. So now let's jump into the first part. Okay. So let's go into the company overview. What does the management say in this entire first part of the section, which will be company overview? Okay, so how to think about company overview? Let's see the section, what they are doing. Okay, so the first thing which you need to see in the company overview is the milestone of the company and the key differentiator of the company. Okay, so just let me scroll through that. Okay, just give me a second. I'll just All right, so let me share the screen and let's go to the company overview, right? So if you go here, you will see brief details about the company, like what is the mission of the company, what is the vision of the company, and then, what are the customer base globally as well as, locally. And you will also have a different perspective in terms of the products, okay, which is very, very important. So here, if you see, there are different products which are given. So there are like company overview which is given, then different sectors it is given, like what are they doing in terms of their product. And they will also give you the idea about what is the bifurcation, like what are the key segments. So if you see here, they give details about the pharma sector, specialty chemical sector, they are global player in benzene and all those things, right? So this is where it will give you the broad idea about the company, and you will know that what the company is doing, right? Where the focus of the company is, but it will be like the broad overview. It will not be like too deep dive. It will be just like to understand the part and, understand the entire process. Now, this is very, very important piece, which you should always focus on, where in the company overview, try to think about what are the competitive advantages of the company, like what is the USP of the company. So rather than, going through each and everything and going deeper into reading futile things, you should try to think about what are the competitive advantages. So if you think, the first clue we got over here is it is a global player in benzene based derivatives with integrated operations. So just with one line, you can understand that, they are probably one of the biggest benzene based derivative player with an integrated operation. So they should have back to back integration. Okay, if they write that in their annual report, that is where you will get the connecting dots, like whether whatever they told is right or wrong, right? So that is where the connecting dots parts comes into the play. Then if you go about and study deeper, you will understand, that with Milestone, whether they were, using this strategy to go ahead. So if you see, they first did a NCV plant in these 2 years, like 1986 and then 1990. And then they are setting up a hydrogenation unit. So probably this is what they are talking about in terms of integration, right? Where they are going backwards and forwards. And then they are saying, they are also upgrading the hydrogenation unit. And then last few years, they are also commencing calcium chloride facility. They are also doing ethylation facility. They are also going into nitrotoluene plant. And they are also, doing more R&D for future products. So are you able to connect the dots, like how the things are connecting? So first, just from the business overview, once you go to the Milestone, you will be able to understand what are the key pieces they are trying to put together. If this was insightful, just type insightful in the comment box. So we have just read like 2 to 3 pages and just broad overview, but we are starting to connect the dots that, the player is into benzene derivatives. It is an integrated player and it is going in the value chain and expanding, and it is one of the largest player. And that is how you should take the insights from the annual report. Now, if we go further, they also talk about business segments. So this will give you an overview, like, around 83% is into specialty chemicals, and then 17% is into pharma business. And then you also understand what is the split and how it has been growing. So that you will understand in the 10 years KPI thing which we were discussing. Now this is a very important slide. Now where we were discussing the benzene derivatives, you can understand like what this company is doing. So what they were talking about integration, actually this is happening, right? So in this entire piece, they are actually doing all the integration. So if you see, there is a, benzene based plant, then there are, different categories over here, and they are just expanding aggressively in the entire piece. Okay, let me just do the pen side and let's go into this. Okay, so if you see, this is what is the derivatives value chain which we are talking about, right? So first they started with DCV chain, and then they expanded, they went into the chlorination part, then they went into nitration, then they went to the C part, then they went to hydrogenation, then they went to others, and they are now going into helix chemistry. So this is how you can connect the dots that, okay, management was talking about this and they are executing it. And more in the management commentary, we'll learn about it. Right, and they will talk about the business portfolio, what is the end usage, and this is where you will get the idea, like whether the end industry you want to play, whether it is a proxy industry or not. So that is one more insights you will get. And then they will give all the product portfolio, like what all products they are manufacturing, how they are manufacturing, all the insights you will get. And here also you will get the competitive advantage over here. Can you see this? This is what I was talking about. You need to always find what is so special about the company. And that is where it will be super powerful. Are you with me so far? Because your intent should not be just, randomly reading an annual report. Your intent should be to bring out the best kind of thing. Okay. And in one of my entire process, like what you should be doing, I've also covered like how to use Amazon flywheel model to become a better investor. Just go through it and it will show you the entire cycle, what you should be focusing as an investor. Okay. Now what I do in my personal journey is I use something called as 4-cylinder model. Okay. To think about the growth triggers. So once I understand the business model, once I also understand the KPIs and what the company is doing, then I want to think about future growth, that what are the growth triggers that will make money for me. And there are 4, such parameters in the 4-cylinder model. The first one is sales growth. The second is operating leverage. Third is margin expansion. And fourth is debt reduction. And both these parameters you have existing and new. Okay, so this entire framework I use, and I also have invested in community. A lot of members are over here live also, where I do a thing called hackathon. And when we do this hackathon, during the buy and sell framework, we actually go live and see like what are each trigger, how it is playing out. Okay, so you need to focus like whether the industry is growing, and that you will see in the sector growth. I'll tell you about it in few minutes. Then how the company is gaining market share, whether they are able to increase the prices, whether they are launching any new product, whether they are going into new category or new geography. All these things will help you identify whether there are enough growth triggers or not. Hope you are understanding the big picture. So rather than just randomly looking into an entire section, you should actually go step by step and find only sections where it is helping you to go into all these parameters. Okay, so let me now go deeper and talk about it. So let me show the screen over here itself, and let me go through some of these sections. Just give me a second. So I'll show some of the sections which are super important in this thing. Okay, so we are again back to the annual report, and once you see the table of contents, you can go through these different parameters. Okay, so let me just okay, so this is like what they did in COVID response and all those things, which is not very important. Just give me a second. I'll just go to a relevant page. It's slightly difficult to scroll through. So then you see like what is the 10-year consolidated financial highlights, right? So this will give you an example of how the company is growing, like whether they are actually growing or they are just standalone. Okay, whether they are giving out dividend, whether the next fixed asset are growing. All these things are very important, and then you combine it with the Excel which we have, right? So in Excel you will get an idea about what are different ratios, whether they are making enough margin, whether the pricing power is increasing, whether the ROCEs are increasing. So while reading the annual report, you can actually use this Excel and make the most out of it. Okay, so that is how you should go about it. The second thing which you should focus on this is the opportunities, right? Where they think the opportunities lie, and that is where you should read MD&A as well as the chairman's or MD's report. How many of you didn't know about this? Like you've never seen this when you read annual report. So this is where it will give you the insight that it has been unprecedented year. What is happening? What are the performance? What are the key things we are doing? So they are mentioning like they are doing 1300 crore capex. Okay, so this is a key item. So you go back to your Excel and see, what is the kind of capex they were doing earlier. Okay, so if you see here, it is like 300 crore, then 300 crore, 500 crore, 600 crore, 1100 crore, then 1200 crore. So probably they are doing one of the largest capex in future. And that is where it will give you insight that, okay, there are some growth triggers about that. And then you find out, what is this capex about, how they are doing this capex, how they are funding it, what is the ROCE of that capex. Okay. Then you also see the, outlook in terms of sector. What is happening in the sector? That management will tell that the sector is growing at like 10 to 12% CAGR. The global growth is 3 to 4%. So India is taking away market share. and what are the drivers of this growth. All these things you will be able to find in this first report. Okay, so make sure you go through this MD&A discussion. Next you should go through is the key performance indicators, like how it has been progressing and what is the growth rate in terms of various parameters, and how the management is looking at the entire growth trajectory of the company. So you will see capex spending, you will see debt to equity ratios, you will see what is the trajectory of book value, you will also see what is the current credit rating. So this will again give you a bird's eye view of quickly running through the numbers. And very important is then understanding the opportunities. This is where, as I said, what is the future holding of, right? So you see what are the different focus areas, where they are focusing, what are the mega trends. So if you see here, they say specialty chemicals, the global market size is this. Okay, this is estimated to grow 3 to 4% every year globally. It is also expected to grow 10 to 12% in India. And then you see the entire framework which I showed you, right? That whether they are going into new market, whether they are improving. So you start applying the 4-cylinder model, and that is where you will get a lot more insight in terms of how to dissect this entire thing. By the way, how many of you are finding it amazing? Just type amazing in the comment box, because what I'm sharing with all of you is literally amazing and nobody will tell you. You don't need to basically read each and every page of the annual report. Whatever section I'm telling you, if you are able to focus there, that is more than sufficient. Okay. So that is what is the key, and not many people do that. Next, if you want to think about the improvement areas. Like what are the improvement areas which company is doing? Like whether they are, doing some kind of efficiency measure, whether they are, putting some capex to improvise their efficiency. All those things are also very, very important. Also think about what are the new things they are doing apart from capex, whether they are launching any new product, whether they are going into new geography. And you don't need to again read each and everything. You can just go to your search and see which geography they are going, right? So if you see geography, you will get an idea that which all geographical segment they are going and where they are expanding, right? And you can also connect that with the strategy. Like they are telling that my strategy is multi-product, multi-customer, multi-geographies and multi-end users. So then you just need to verify whether the management is walking the path what they are writing in the strategy, right? So this is what is the process which you should be doing in terms of your annual report reading. Apart from that, a very important section is their strategic priorities, like what they are doing for growth. So here they will say, we are doing value chain expansion. So do you remember we saw the first page where it was written that benzene-based derivatives and we are expanding across the value chain. And here they are writing that we are doing value chain expansion. We are scaling up capacity of existing product. We are going into new markets. We are also, applying it into new products. We are also manufacturing new value-added products in existing value chain and also improving market position in isomers. They are also, improving the new value chains. They are also scaling up in the pharma business. Are you able to relate it with the 4-cylinder model which I just shared with all of you? Right? So this is how, all these things are connecting back to the 4-cylinder model, that they are going into new product. They are also expanding across the category. They are also increasing the capacity utilization. And same way, if you see outsourcing, this is more around efficiency, which I was talking about, whether they are increasing the efficiency or not. Okay, so these kind of things, once you start connecting the dots, you will start understanding it. Then the most important section is your financials, right? You will have standalone financials and you will have consolidated financials. And most importantly, it will also have notes. So you'll see all the last year as well as existing year financials. And then you will also see notes of each and every financials, like what was the movement and how it went about. One more section which is very important is they also have a shareholding pattern, like a granular shareholding pattern, which you can also use to see who are all the shareholders and how that has changed over the years. Okay, so I think broadly these are the sections which you should go through. And the most important thing you should be doing is ask why. Rather than just simply reading through the annual report. Let's say, there was some jump over here. So say for example, the raw material expense over here was 67, then it became 57. Then gradually it has come down to 41%. Now if the raw material expense overall has gone down to 41%, you just ask why it has gone down and then try to find answers in the annual report rather than just simply, going through the annual report and wasting your time. Okay, so this is how methodically, if you do the entire research, I am sure you will go next level in your journey, and hope this entire session was useful. The last section which you will see in the annual report is sector and broader outlook, and there you should find whether this entire sector is a mega trend or not. So if the trend is in their favor, if the sector is growing and the outlook is good, I prefer generally those kind of companies. Okay, and how, if you want to see the sample of it, I've done an entire video on chemical sector. So just go through that video, you will understand how I've done analysis of chemical sector video by using these triggers in terms of sector, and that is how you can go next level in this journey. Next thing which you can also do after reading the annual report is read research reports. Okay, so research reports will again give you a lot of insights and ideas. That is your next steps, and you can go through it. So just quickly to recap what all things we have discussed. First, the starting point should be very, very clear that why we are researching any particular company. Don't do it randomly. The second thing is use screening process. And if you need any help, just go through my screening video which is there in the YouTube channel, and you can take help of it. You can also understand how to use this Excel. I've explained this also. So second is screening process. Third is Scuttlebutt, like how you are finding ideas from things surrounding you. That should be also very, very useful. Fourth, think about the company overview, like what all things you should understand in company overview. I showed you the example also of Aarti Industry, like what the business is, what is the broader segment, what are the products they are manufacturing, what are the key clients, what is their overall strategy in terms of business. And there, it will give you an idea. Fifth, you think about milestone, like what company has achieved over like 10, 15, 20 years. And that will be very, very clear in the milestone segment. And then start applying the 4-cylinder model, which I told you, that what are the growth triggers for the future. That is very, very important. Unless you don't focus on growth triggers, the future outlook will not be clear for you, right? So to find out the growth triggers, read the chairman and MD report, see what they are saying in terms of CapEx, the new plans, the new strategies. Think about KPIs, like what are the key performance indicators, whether they are improving or not. Also read the management discussion and analysis. That is a section in the annual report where they will discuss what are their strategies, how they are going to tap this growth. Okay, next, see what are the financials and read the notes about it if you want more clarity. And last but not the least is sector and broader outlook of the industry as well as the company. Okay, so hope this entire framework was useful. And this is what we do at a much, much deeper level in our investment community. We also do a hackathon, and it's just amazing process in terms of right from stock screening to understanding the company, building a sector analysis, and then doing a buy and sell framework, right? So that is what we do. If you are interested to join in our next upcoming session, you can just check this link out. I will also paste this in the comment section. But hope this was super useful. And thank you so much for joining this live session. See you and Jai Hind. Bye-bye.